My Trillionaire Son-in-Law. Chapter 4. Lucio Meng was furious now. This idiot was actually blocking the way for the new owner of the Bentley to get off. Isn't this looking for death? Andrew Cheng, why are you still standing there? Hurry up and come here. Lucio Meng pointed at Andrew Cheng angrily and shouted. As soon as Andrew Cheng parked the battery car, he was angrily rebuked by Lucio Meng's artillery fire. It is over. Andrew Cheng is in trouble now. Seeing Viagra, he will be angry. Just over a dozen complaints calling, how dare this idiot come back? It's at least 200 deductions, and it will be a waste of a day. Several employees were discussing in low voices, and some people were watching with schadenfreude. Among them, there are several old employees who have followed Andrew Cheng. Seeing that Andrew Cheng was reduced to delivering food with them, it was only natural to be more sarcastic. Andrew Cheng was also used to it. Even boss Kenny Wong glanced at Andrew Cheng coldly at this time, and asked with an unpleasant expression, Manager Meng, is this your employee? Lucio Meng hurriedly sneered. Boss, you haven't been here a few times, so I forgot to introduce you. This is Andrew Cheng, the former boss of our company, and now he is just a low-level food delivery man. When talking about the former boss, Lucio Meng deliberately emphasized the words, and his tone revealed a strong sarcasm. Andrew Cheng, you have this day too, it is really revenge, ha ha ha. Mr. Kenny Wong's face was cold, his brow wrinkled, and he said, get rid of the idle people and welcome the new boss. Only then did he remember that Andrew Cheng was a poor young man who moved companies. It's a pity that Mr. Kenny Wong has forgotten so much. He really couldn't remember people from lower society like Andrew Cheng. Thus, Kenny Wong had pulled up his coat and walked towards the Bentley with a smile on his face. When Lucio Meng received the order, he immediately acted as an arrow and pointed at Andrew Cheng proudly. Andrew Cheng, why don't you pack up your things and come out? Andrew Cheng rolled his eyes, looked at Lucio Meng like an idiot, and said, idiot. This idiot. Everyone present heard it, and everyone looked strange. Lucio Meng immediately became angry, his fingers were about to stab Andrew Cheng's nose, and he said angrily, grass. Try cursing again. Andrew Cheng sneered. Then satisfy yourself, you idiot. Your whole family are idiots. Grass. Andrew Cheng, you die. You will be fired now, and you must compensate the company for its economic losses. Lucio Meng bared his teeth and grinned, his eyes widening with anger. This Andrew Cheng is too ignorant. He needs to understand that he is no longer the boss of the errand company. How dare you be so arrogant? Let's see how Lao Su will kill you later. Out of the blue. The door of the Bentley opened, and an old man with a cane walked down, with an angry expression on his face, saying, who dares to fire him? After that, the old man directly passed by Mr. Kenny Wong, who was greeted with a smile on his face, and walked 3 steps to Andrew Cheng in front of everyone's dumbfounded eyes. Standing, bowing head. Everything is so natural and respectful. Sir, I'm late. The old man said respectfully. The sound was not loud, but the sound of needles could be heard on the ground. Dominating. Many people were surprised. Andrew Cheng turned himself into a young master. What's the situation? Kenny Wong froze in place, the smile on his face gradually hardening. Lucio Meng was even more surprised that his mouth became big, and said with a smile, Master, are you our new boss? Don't joke. Andrew Cheng is the lowest employee in our company, are you wrong? Mr. Arnel Khan only glanced at him coldly. Kenny Wong also frowned slightly, ran over, and said respectfully and enthusiastically, Mr. Khan, stop joking around, let's talk inside. Kenny Wong is a businessman. He still knew Arnel Khan, the chairman of the Chengding Group. In Shangjiang City, it is an existence that covers the sky with one hand. However, Arnel Khan stood there, motionless, His eyes swept over Kenny Wong and Lucio Meng coldly, and said with a displeased face, "Who is joking with you? This is the new boss of your company. How did it happen?" New boss. Lucio Meng didn't believe it, neither did boss Kenny Wong. "Viagra, did you just say you were going to fire me?" Andrew Cheng glanced at Lucio Meng with a half smile. "Andrew Cheng. Do you want to die? Don't call me Viagra." Lucio Meng was angry. What he hated the most was when people called him by that nickname. "Hurry up and get out of the way, and pay the company's economic loss, 10,000. Lucio Meng sneered. He didn't care. How could this Andrew Cheng become the new boss of the company? Just like the penis. Ha ha. Andrew Cheng was still looking at Lucio Meng with a half smile. "How many did you see? Why don't you hurry up and get the money?" Lucio Meng sneered. "Yes, I watched some." Andrew Cheng smiled instead of being angry. "You are really looking for death, Andrew Cheng. I apologize for these few words if I don't fire you." Lucio Meng sneered arrogantly. He is the manager of the company and has the right to fire his employees. "Then let me tell you, Lucio Meng, you have been fired by me, you can come out." Andrew Cheng leaned against the battery car, put his hand in his trouser pocket, and said lightly, "This Lucio Meng is a complete idiot." Everything was there, and he still couldn't see it. At this time, Boss Wong, who was standing at the side, suddenly woke up. Ups. Andrew Cheng is really the new boss of the company. Thinking of this, Kenny Wong was full of cold sweat on his forehead, and he lowered his brows and didn't dare to look at it, and hated Lucio Meng even more in his heart. "You fired me." Lucio Meng smiled, his expression grave. This Andrew Cheng is not a fool, he can even say such a thing. At this time, Arnel Khan, who was standing beside Andrew Cheng, glanced at Lucio Meng coldly, and said coldly, "Our young master will fire you when he says he will fire you." Arnel Khan's face was so ugly, this fellow dared to humiliate his young master and seek abuse. Only this time did Lucio Meng realize that there was a new big boss in front of him. But don't wait for a response. Kenny Wong slapped his face angrily and shouted, "Lucio Meng, quit the company immediately, you are fired. This Lucio Meng is a total idiot. I would absolutely trust this kind of person and promote him to be the manager of the company." "Boss, what do you mean?" Lucio Meng covered his face with an unbelievable expression. "That means Andrew Cheng is the new boss of our company. He said that if he fires you, he fires you." As soon as these words came out, the audience was shocked. Lucio Meng shuddered and shouted, "No way. He's broke, he's a pauper, how can he be the new boss?" Kenny Wong frowned and said, "He is not as simple as you think." Lucio Meng stared at Andrew Cheng with a straight head, his expression like a wilted vegetable leaf. At this time, he suddenly realized that the old man standing in front of Andrew Cheng was actually Director Khan of the Chengding Group. Billionaire rich man. The richest man in Shanghai. Andrew Cheng, who he called young master, wasn't that. "Lucio Meng, from now on, you have been dismissed, come out." Andrew Cheng straightened up, and as soon as he finished speaking, Lucio Meng was completely dumbfounded and froze in place. "Didn't you just scold yourself for being cool? Also shoot yourself. Sorry, I'm the new boss now. I told you to get out, you have to get out." Plop. Lucio Meng immediately knelt down, hugged Andrew Cheng's thigh and said, "Boss Cheng, it's me who doesn't know Mount Tai, and I'm cheap, please don't fire me. Just look at the face of my former colleague, let me stay in the company, even if you go to deliver food." Andrew Cheng laughed twice. "Lucio Meng, I regret doing it now. Will you let me go before this? If you do too much injustice, you will kill yourself. In short, let Lucio Meng fall into the abyss." After that, Andrew Cheng turned to look at his colleagues in the company and said, "I know that many of you look down on me when I'm down, but it doesn't matter, starting today, your salary will be doubled. At this moment, the circle of fellow spectators was boiling. Double salary. Boss Cheng is amazing. Boss Cheng, I love you to death. Then, Andrew Cheng looked at a beautiful woman at the back of the crowd and said, also, Lucio Meng's manager position is held by Sister Angela Song. Famous. Everyone looked back at Angela Song, who was standing at the back of the crowd. She was wearing a black professional skirt, which perfectly outlined her figure. Thin black silk wrapped around her straight and slender legs, her calves were tight, and her lines were soft. Angela Song looked at Andrew Cheng in amazement. Until he left, he was still a little out of breath. Looking at the back that entered the Bentley, Angela Song's beautiful eyes flashed a strange look. Angela Song quickly chased after him, stood in front of the car window, bent over, the ice cream ball around his neck almost jumped out, and said with pursed lips, Andrew Cheng, no, boss, do you really want me? Be a manager. Seeing Angela Song, Andrew Cheng glanced at Princess Snow without a trace, and smiled slightly. Sister Angela, what's wrong? Don't believe in yourself. Angela Song is a woman with common knowledge, a good figure, and a beautiful person. She has followed Andrew Cheng before. Now, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to promote it. That's the boss's prerogative. I'm afraid I can't do well. Angela Song struggled. He never expected that Andrew Cheng would suddenly become the new boss of the company. Even though he was the boss for a long time, at that time there were only a few people in the company and it was very small. Now the company's turnover exceeds 5 million every year. Then Andrew Cheng bought the company and spent tens of millions. Don't worry, Sister Angela, take your time, don't worry. Andrew Cheng smiled, which made Angela Song calm. Watching Angela Cheng leave with Bentley, Angel Song pursed her red lips and wondered in her heart, what is his identity? Why is he pretending to be poor when he is so rich? At Bentley. Master, there is an investment project tomorrow. You have to meet the other party's boss. Arnel Khan squeezed with a wrinkled face and smiled. Do not go. Andrew Cheng answered very simply, he didn't want to care about these things at all. I was forced to inherit the family property, didn't want me to come along. Then young master, return the 100,000. Arnel Khan said lightly. Andrew Cheng was taken aback, his expression stunned, and he said reluctantly, Go, I will go to the headquarters. Think of the heir of my rich family, who actually stooped for 100,000. Sad. Okay young master, I will pick you up tomorrow. Arnel Khan smiled. As soon as he got out of the car, Andrew Cheng heard a suspicious voice, Andrew Cheng, why are you here? Andrew Cheng turned his head subconsciously and saw that it was Marion Young, who looked confused, looking at him with a strange look. Andrew Cheng panicked. Bad, Marion Young will know his identity. Chapter 5. Why are you here? Marion Young frowned and glanced at the Bentley beside Andrew Cheng. Did he just get out of the car? Is this still my good-for-nothing husband? Or, now that takeaway companies are all delivering food with Bentleys? Andrew Cheng hesitated, glanced at Arnel Khan who was smiling like a chrysanthemum from the window. The old man immediately stretched out his hand and said, Thank you, young man. Thanks to you I found this. Next time I'm free, I'll invite you over for dinner and thank you. Andrew Cheng nodded politely and said, No need, old man, come back quickly. Urgent ending. Arnel Khan didn't say much, and nodded to Marion Young, who was on the side of the road, smiled and nodded, then let the driver leave quickly. Marion Young looked at it carefully, and was suddenly shocked. Isn't this the leader of the Chengding group, Mr. Khan? The richest man in Shanghai. Andrew Cheng actually took the car with him. You know Arnel Khan? Marion looked back at Andrew Cheng in surprise. Andrew Cheng shrugged and said, I don't know, the old man doesn't know the way, so I'll show you the way. Old stuff. The corner of Marion Young's mouth twitched with anger. She actually called the richest man in Shangjiang an old man. What a rude person. What an old man. It's the richest man in Shangjiang City, the chairman of the Chengding Group. Marian Young looked at Andrew Cheng bitterly. This man has completely lost his sight. The more she looked at it, the more Marian Young disliked Andrew Cheng, and she only said coldly, Andrew Cheng, don't forget, my father treats guests to dinner at Juxian Pavilion on weekends, you go buy some gifts. I haven't agreed to go yet. Andrew Cheng replied. You. This made Marian Young so angry that she finally got past her father, saying that this time Andrew Cheng would come and lower his head to admit his mistakes, so that his father must not embarrass him too much. However, this Andrew Cheng has such an attitude. Forget it, leave him alone. I was completely blind at first, and I was about to fall in love with this man. I love you or not. Marian Young was angry, turned around, twisted her waist and lifted her hips and left. Andrew Cheng looked at Marian Young's back. She completely changed her clothes, tight jeans and t-shirt. Her round buttocks were really dazzling, and she had a desire to conquer. She also appears to be wearing perfume and makeup. Andrew Cheng was shocked, seeing him walking into a building, thought of something in his heart. Didn't Marian Young return to the company? Why did she come here? Where is this place? Hotel Hilton. Depending on did Marian Young steal a man behind her? Thinking about it, Andrew Cheng became angry, and he worked hard to go to work, but he really came to the hotel. No, let's go and see. Marian Young was very upset today. First, his daughter had a heart attack because of Andrew Cheng's irresponsibility. Then he was irritated by Mr. Lester Cao. Then he returned to the company in another problematic project. The other party's boss broke the promise, saying that he had to come to Hilton to talk. Marian Young didn't want to come, but she had to because they threatened her with the project. That's a million orders. Right at this moment, his cell phone rang. Hey, Mr. Hong, I'm here, where are you? I will wait for you at the restaurant on the 6th floor. There was a gentle male voice on the other end of the phone. Good, Mr. Hong, I will come soon. Marian Young said with a busy smile. After hanging up the phone, Marian Young heaved a sigh of relief, looked at the elevator hesitantly, and finally decided to go up. As the elevator doors closed, Andrew Cheng appeared in the lobby and saw Marian Young getting on the elevator from a distance. He ran over 3 steps and 2 steps, but was interrupted by a cold smirk. Yo, isn't this my cousin-in-law delivering the takeaways? She's all delivered to the Hilton. Andrew Cheng turned his head to look and saw a beautiful and fashionable couple snuggled together. The girl wrapped her arms around his chest and leaned mockingly in the arms of a 1.8-meter tall and handsome boy. Cherry Young. Andrew Cheng frowned slightly, not forgetting to glance at the 6th floor where the elevator stopped. The girl came over and smiled mockingly. Cousin-in-law, what a coincidence, I can meet you here, it seems that your business is very broad. The girl's name was Cherry Young, Marian Young's cousin. This year, I'm just a freshman, and I've become slender, with a very firm chest. Cherry, who is this person? The handsome boy beside Cherry Young asked with seductive eyes. Cherry Young immediately sneered and said, my cousin-in-law, didn't I say last time that he failed to start a business and then delivered food, and asked me to borrow thousands of dollars, but I haven't paid it yet. It hasn't come back yet. Cherry Young always looked down on her cousin-in-law, who was too extravagant. I always thought he was his cousin's high branch climbing frog. Better to say that he married her cousin. Shy. Haha. He is the cousin-in-law you mentioned, I rely on him, so he is really stupid. The boy laughed, his eyes filled with sarcasm. Andrew Cheng was a little displeased. How to say? He is your cousin-in-law, what do you mean by Cherry Young? Humiliate yourself with outsiders. I will return your money. I still have something to do, so I won't be accompanying the two of you. Andrew Cheng smiled. However, she was Marian Young's cousin, and as his cousin-in-law, She had to be patient. If he knows, he is now the heir to the world's largest consortium. What expressions and reactions will these cousins have? Man, always so shallow and stupid. Give me back. I didn't even expect you to repay me. Is your salary from delivering food enough to treat grains of rice? Cherry Young sneered. My cousin is an asshole. And that little bastard shouldn't have been born. Yes, Cherry looks down on Andrew Cheng, and naturally looks down on Andrew Cheng's daughter. When Andrew Cheng heard this, the expression on his face slowly became cold. Cherry Young, after all, I am your cousin-in-law. Are you too stupid to talk to me like this? Ha ha. Cherry laughed and said, I don't admit that you are my cousin-in-law. You just went up with my cousin and joined my Young family. Shameless. He also used his identity to suppress himself, and he didn't even look at himself. Wow, is he the son-in-law? Cherry Young's boyfriend sneered in shock. Man, doing what he's doing is completely useless. Cherry waved his hand, dragged his girlfriend away, and said disdainfully, Forget it, Brother Lou, let's go. Standing with someone like him, I feel the air smells of oily. Andrew Cheng's eyes were cold, his fists clenched tightly, saw Cherry Young wiggle his **** and pull his girlfriend away. The two of them also whispered. Your cousin-in-law is really useless. He's not my brother-in-law's cousin. If you say it again, I will turn my back on you. Taking a deep breath, Andrew Cheng calmed down. He couldn't be knowledgeable like a child. He turned and ran to the elevator immediately. 6th floor. Andrew Cheng circled around for a long time before he saw Marion Young's figure outside the glass wall of a Western restaurant. I rely. The most hated thing was that Andrew Cheng saw a fat and greasy bald man sitting in front of Marion Young at a glance, reaching out to touch Marion's hand with a pitiful face. Love is light. Green. Not beautiful at all. Andrew Cheng was furious. He took out his cell phone and called Marion Young directly. In the restaurant, Marion Young politely refused President Wilmer Hong's kindness a few times, but the other party didn't give up at all, and wanted to touch her hand a few times. It was at this time that his cell phone suddenly rang, giving him a chance to breathe. Excuse me, Mr. Hong, I will take the call. After saying that, Marion Young got up and walked outside the restaurant. Boss Hong narrowed his eyes and kept staring at Marion Young's back. Her round buttocks were like grinding discs, she couldn't stop swaying. Tonight, be sure to put this arrogant woman under his body and destroy it fiercely. Hey, Andrew Cheng, what's wrong? Marion Young was standing outside the door of the restaurant. I'm across from you. Marion Young suddenly raised her head, and saw Andrew Cheng looking at her coldly. He frowned slightly, wondering in his heart, why was he here? You're following me. Marion Young walked over, her face covered in ice, and said coldly. I just met Andrew Cheng downstairs, and I was about to bump into him at the door. Isn't that what tracking is? Good you Andrew Cheng, now you actually did such a disgusting thing, playing tracking. Andrew Cheng laughed and said, I didn't have time to follow you, I just happened to pass by. After speaking, he glanced at the big fat man in the restaurant and asked, who is he, more important than grains of rice? Instead of going to the hospital, run off to meet the big fat man. Marion Young, you can do it. Marion was very displeased with Andrew Cheng's tone of interrogation, but still explained, company partners, talk business. Talk about business. I think he did something to you. Are you talking about business or flirting? Andrew Cheng asked. Marion Young's face sank, her hands covered her chest, and she said disdainfully, Andrew Cheng, what do you mean? You doubt me. I work tirelessly every day, just to make more money tending the rice grains. How to? About you, send them every day. Take it home, is there anything to do? Let you bow your head to my parents, have you left? You're a coward. Speaking, Marion's emotions were obviously agitated. Tears welled up in her eyes. She turned her head, sucked her nose and said, "Forget it, it's useless to tell you, I won't come back tonight." "Never come back?" Andrew Cheng stunned. "Are you going to spend the night outside? And this fat man? What if I could help you?" Andrew Cheng said. Seeing Marion Young like this, Andrew Cheng guessed that this deal was not easy to talk about, and most of the time the other party was threatening him. At the same time, he felt guilty, and his attitude just now was completely wrong. "Can you bring me 1,000,000 orders?" Marion Young smiled. Her smile was very cold. He never expected Andrew Cheng to help himself. "Isn't it just an order of 1,000,000, I can." Andrew Cheng said. He is not short of money now. As long as he says a word, Marion's company can buy it, let alone an order of 1,000,000, Xiao Kai's dish. Andrew Cheng. "That's enough. You don't have to worry about my business." Marion Young said coldly, then turned her head and entered the restaurant again. "I don't care. After all, you are my wife." Andrew Cheng looked at Marion Young's back, smiled bitterly, then took out his cell phone. Next chapter. My Trillionaire Son-in-Law.